She is just a useless nobody who will never amount to anything. Those were the exact words my father used to toast my brother's 35th birthday. While my family laughed and toasted to a $15 million Beverly Hills mansion, they thought I was a broke assistant who couldn't afford the wine in my glass. What they didn't know, I wasn't just a guest at that table. I was the landlord. And by the time the check arrived, the golden boy and his tight-end father were about to find out what happens when you spit on the person who secretly owns the ground you stand on. Before we get into how I dismantled a fake empire in under 10 minutes, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. And if you've ever been the designated disappointment of your family while secretly outworking every single one of them, hit that like button and subscribe. This one is for the ones they underestimated. The setting, a golden cage. The French Laundry, one of the most exclusive restaurants in the world. The crystal chandeliers cast a warm, mocking glow over our private mahogany table. To anyone looking in, we were the picture of the American dream. Richard, the logistics titan, Susan, the poised matriarch, Derek, the brilliant heir, and Naomi, his stunning, status-obsessed wife. And then there was me, Natalie, the 33-year-old administrative assistant in a polyester blouse from a discount rack. I sat at the far end of the table, sipping lukewarm, sparkling water. I could feel the weight of their judgment like a physical pressure in the room. It was suffocating. The first strike, the ancient Toyota. Honestly, Natalie, Naomi's voice sliced through the classical music. She was draped in emerald silk, her fingers weighted down by a diamond large enough to have its own zip code. Did you really have to park that ancient Toyota in the front lot? The valet looked embarrassed for you. You're ruining the aesthetic of Derek's big night with that poverty mindset. I didn't tell her that the Toyota was a decoy. I didn't tell her that my actual daily driver, a custom armored Maybach, was tucked away in a high-security garage 3 states away. I just kept my face blank. It gets me from point A to point B, Naomi, I said evenly. Derek scoffed, swirling a $400 glass of Cabernet. That's your problem, Nat. No vision. No drive. You're 33 and still stamping papers in a windowless office for a boss who doesn't know your name. You need to think bigger, or you'll be renting that pathetic little apartment forever. The illusion of the genius. My mother, Susan, sighed dramatically. Let's not talk about Natalie's depressing career. We're here for Derek. The family business is thriving because of his genius. I hid my amusement behind my glass. The family business was a mid-tier logistics firm that had been bleeding cash for 5 years. Derek, the genius VP, spent more time on the golf course than looking at a balance sheet. He had recently signed a contract that accidentally gave away 30% of their margins because he was too lazy to read the fine print. The only reason they weren't homeless was because a blind trust, my blind trust, had been quietly injecting capital to keep the lights on. The $15 million lie. Then came the climax of their charade. My father, Richard, stood up, tapping his glass with a silver knife. To Derek, he boomed, a man who understands the killer instinct. To reward your excellence, your mother and I have a little something. He slid a mahogany box across the table. Inside was a silver key and a stack of legal documents. The deed to a $15 million estate in Beverly Hills, Richard announced. 6 bedrooms, infinity pool, private wine cellar. It's yours, Derek. The room erupted. Naomi squealed, kissing Derek fiercely. Susan had tears of joy. They were celebrating a massive, glittering lie. I knew that property. It was on Oak Pass Road. I knew it because my company, Vanguard Apex, had bought it 6 months ago. Richard hadn't bought it. He had leveraged the last of his failing company's assets to secure a high-interest bridge loan from, you guessed it, Vanguard Apex. He had paid a tiny deposit just to get the keys for tonight, to keep up the appearance of being a titan. It was financial suicide, the ultimate insult. Naomi turned to me, her eyes dancing with malice. You know, Natalie will need housekeeping for a place that big. Since you're so comfortable living paycheck to paycheck, maybe we could hire you? We'd even let you live in the maid's quarters above the garage. It'd be a huge upgrade for you." Derek roared with laughter. "That's brilliant. We'll get her a little uniform. What do you say, sis? Minimum wage plus tips if you make my bed right." I looked my brother in the eye. I didn't flinch. "That's generous, Derek, but I think I'll pass." Richard slammed his hand on the table. "Stop being so ungrateful. You're 33 and have absolutely nothing to show for your life. You're a complete embarrassment to the family name." The $50,000 trap. The dinner ended. The head waiter approached with a black leather folder. Richard, too busy admiring his success, waved him away. "Give that to Natalie. She can handle the minor details tonight. It's the least she can do after we've supported her for 18 years. The bill was $50,000. "You want me to pay this?" I asked. "Yes," Susan snapped. "We just bought your brother a mansion. Use your little savings account. Stop being stingy." "No," I said. The word froze the room. "What did you say?" Richard hissed. I said no. "If you want a free ride, you invited the wrong daughter." The collapse. Derek, desperate to show off, tossed his black Centurion card onto the tray. "I'll handle it. I don't flinch at 50 grand. It's pocket change." 5 minutes later, the waiter returned. His face was pale. "Sir, the card was declined." The table went silent. Then chaos. Naomi screamed it was a mistake. Derek tried his phone. His accounts were frozen. Richard, turning purple, threw his platinum corporate card down. "Run this. My company has millions." The waiter returned again. "This one is also declined, sir. The bank says there is a hard block on all associated accounts." Richard pulled out his phone and put his private banker, Harrison, on speaker. "Harrison, unfreeze my accounts now. I have a $15 million closing tomorrow." "I can't do that, Richard." Harrison's voice was cold. "You aren't the sole guarantor of the trust. 5 years ago, when your company was bankrupt, a third party injected the capital to save you. They hold the legal rights to every cent you think you own." "Who?" Richard screamed. "Who is the guarantor?" I leaned forward, my voice a calm, steady blade. "I am, Dad." The silence was absolute. "Natalie is the CEO of Vanguard Apex," Harrison continued through the phone. "She authorized the freeze 3 hours ago. Every credit line is severed. Your balance is 0. Good night, Richard." Click. Naomi's jaw dropped. Derek looked like he was going to vomit. Richard stared at me like I was a ghost. You're a paper pusher," Richard whispered. "I'm the woman who paid for the wine you're drinking," I replied. "I'm the woman who owns the house Derek was planning to move into. And since I'm just a useless nobody, I decided to stop funding your delusions. You have 10 minutes to figure out how to pay this $50,000 bill before the police arrive for theft of services. I'm going home." I stood up, adjusted my cheap blouse, and walked out. I didn't look back as the shouting started. Sometimes the best way to deal with people who think they're above you is to let them climb as high as they can on your ladder. Then you just move the ladder. My family spent years trying to make me feel small so they could feel big. They forgot one simple rule: never bite the hand that feeds you, especially when that hand owns the whole table. If that payoff felt as good to hear as it did to execute, smash that like button. Tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying, underestimated moment you've ever had? I read every single one. Don't forget to subscribe to the Revenge Engine for more stories of justice served cold. See you in the next one.